The Paul Allen and Coulorette controversy is such a very good example for us remote workers or virtual assistants. We have a lot of things that we can learn out of that situation. I don't want to say it's an issue, but okay, it's definitely an issue because we're talking about money and getting paid. So this Nina and Paul Allen Coulorette situation is something that we can all definitely learn from, especially as remote workers, freelancers, or virtual assistants. If you're watching this and you are not a Filipino, I'm going to give you a context of what the situation is so that you would understand the rest of this video. But before we dive into that, hello everyone, my name is Mia and welcome to my channel. I am currently under the weather, so please don't mind my voice. If you are new in this channel, hello there. I am an executive virtual assistant or a remote worker or freelancer since 2021, and I am now an operations manager mentoring virtual assistants. If you want to learn more about how to succeed as a remote worker, a freelancer, or an executive VA, then hit that subscribe button or follow me on all of my socials. So we're talking about Paul Allen and Coulorette. Now, Paul Allen is a content creator here in the Philippines. I just saw his content when I go through my FYP on TikTok. And Coulorette is a local makeup brand, and the CEO of Coulorette is Nina. So what happened is Coulorette partnered with Paul Allen, content creator, to promote their brand as an influencer. So they did sign a contract, but unfortunately what happened is Paul Allen, the content creator, wasn't paid on time based on the deadline set in the contract. And after some follow-ups, unfortunately, he still was not paid on time, so payment is delayed. The content creator Paul Allen decided to post a video calling out this. He didn't actually mention what the brand is. He just mentioned that he wasn't paid. He still hasn't received his payment, and it's already late, past the due date or past the date that was mentioned on the contract. And then the CEO of Coulorette answered in a TikTok video as well that she already reached out to Paul Allen and they already settled, or she already made a payment. And she informed, or she said in that video, that the reason for the delay is because the person in charge of setting the payments were out sick for 2 weeks. If you want to watch that video, I'll pause here.
Makikita mo ang CEO ay pa-beach-beach, pag-alagad. Busy yata sa love life.
Hi guys! Sorry, ganito itsura ko kasi kakagising ko lang. First and foremost, I want to say na yes, I saw the video. And number two, we acknowledge our lapse there. So yesterday, when I found out about it, I tasked our marketing manager to reach out to Paul Allen right away and to tell him what happened internally that may have caused the delay. To give you some context behind it is the person who is tasked to consolidate the contracts fell ill. So 2 weeks na kasi siyang hindi pumapasok and hindi lang na turnover yung contract sa amin. Kaya hindi siya na-process right away. So yes, there has been a delay of the payment of a balance of 6,000 pesos to Paul Allen. We acknowledge that naman. We apologize and then shinare naman namin kay Paul. He was very understanding naman in the call. What I did now, medyo ngarag-ngarag ako. Inabunuhan ko na lang muna po. Here's the proof of payment. Actually, dahil kakagising ko lang nagkamali nga ako. Mali yung amount na napindot ko, pero okay lang. So, yon. Again, so sorry for the delay and thank you for your patience. Rest assured na next time we'll put na lang more stringent measures in place to avoid delays like this. Hindi naman talaga namin siya gusto. Yun lang. Happy weekend!
I'll tag it also in the caption down below so you'll have more context. But if you're watching this outside of the Philippines and you're not a Filipino, you wouldn't understand because it's in Tagalog. So at least now you already have a context of what happened. Now, I don't do this kinds of videos, you know that I'm all for tutorials and all of those things. But when I was watching this video, it really hit, or when I was watching the back and forth of the video, something was triggered inside of me that I really wanted to talk about because it did hit close to home, especially as virtual assistants when it comes to contracts. Because just like Paul Allen, he considers himself as a content creator or an influencer, which is also one of a niche of a remote worker or a freelancer. So it really did hit close to home. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because there were so many things that I realized watching the videos that we can actually learn from as remote workers, so that we can protect ourselves as remote workers or service providers. At the same time, I also saw something that we can learn from the side of the brand of Nina and Coulorette, something that would definitely help us grow as business owners, because as service providers or freelancers and remote worker, we are actually entrepreneurs or small business owners. We provide service to the clients based on our niche or our specialty. So we are already a CEO of our own small businesses. Now, if you are someone who has a small agency, probably you're already hiring a team of VAs because you have a lot of clients, then you actually have a small business already. Or if you are a marketing agency, a lot of our fellow virtual assistants, especially social media managers and marketers, are already growing into small marketing agencies. So you will already be someone who will lead people. Now, if you're like me, I am now an operations manager. From being a virtual assistant or executive VA, I was promoted to an operations manager, which is a senior role or a leadership role, and I have to mentor and also have people working under me. So it's very important that we also learn something from the side of a leader. That's why it's very nice, or it's very important that I talk about this so that we learn something from it. There are actually just 3 points that I want to talk about, or something that I learned from this video. Now, the first one, of course, is very obvious, which is the importance of a contract as virtual assistants. In one of my posts in Facebook, there was a comment asking about a contract. So the comment read was, "Thank you for sharing this. I'm wondering if you could also share insights on what is the right thing to do if you are a freelancer and the client does not offer or provide a contract. Do you proactively create a contract of your own and provide it to the client?" So this is a very great question. The comment was actually in the reel that I created that I will be talking about this specific content. So as a virtual assistant, I mentioned earlier that as a freelancer or a remote worker, we are already actually a small business owner. We are an entrepreneur, which means that we should have our own contract already because we are providing service. Some clients would actually already have their own contract that they would provide virtual assistants, especially if this client is used to working with VAs. But if you are someone who's new in the field and your client is also hiring a VA for the first time, I don't think there will be, or the client will provide a contract for you. So it's very important that you already have a contract. Now, there's 2 scenarios that I mentioned. One is the client would provide a contract. If the client provides a contract, you have to make sure that you read all of the contract before signing it. You also have to remember that before closing a deal with a client, you have to first read the terms and conditions of your contract. Another thing that you have to remember, if the client is providing you the contract is still negotiable as long as you haven't signed it yet. Meaning, if there is a term or a condition in the contract that you would like to change, probably your rate, how frequent you are going to be paid, if you want to change it that your client needs to give a down payment first, or probably you want to add a provision that says you will get an increase after 1 year, or a provision that will detail how many paid leaves. That's okay. So I was saying like that, and anyway, you can change the number of paid leaves that you're going to have for a year. So make sure, or always remember, that if a contract is not yet signed, you can definitely negotiate the terms and make changes. So you can go back and forth with your client before you sign it off and start working for your client. Now, if your client doesn't have a contract, then you will be the one to provide the contract for your client. I know I discussed this in one of the modules in my online course on how to create contracts, because there are already templates available online with Google Docs, and find it there. And you can also use AI such as Gemini or ChatGPT to help you create a contract with detailed terms and conditions. Don't be afraid to create a contract, no matter how simple it is, as long as all of your terms and conditions are there, which should include how much you're gonna get paid, when your due dates are, your paid time offs, all of those things. Make sure that everything is in the contract. As long as it's there, then you are secured with the contract. Now that you know that you or your client can provide the contract before you start working together, it's also very important to remember that the contract is not valid unless it is signed. Since we're doing everything virtually, how can your client sign it? You can use a Filipino-owned and created platform called Sign Secure by Unawa. I will put the link down below. You can sign up for that for free, and you can send the contract to your client and have it legally, digitally signed using this platform. I will talk about Sign Secure in a different video so that you'll understand the features of Sign Secure. Now, you can also use other digital signature software such as I Love PDF or Adobe Sign, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'll put all of the links for those different platforms in the caption down below. Now, in terms of what happened with Paul Allen and Nina, what we should remember there, that we should include in the contract late payment fees. Okay? So you already have the deadline or the due date when you need to be paid. And then also include in the contract that it would say if you are not, or the client does not provide the payment on time, then there should be an additional charge of X amount if it's late. If it's 1 week late, X amount. If it's 2 week late, X amount. So you just have to increase and then just put in some percentage of increase as weeks go by so that you are secured, and the client would actually have that sense of urgency to make sure that they pay you on time, or else they will get some penalties. Now, if you are a content creator and you're watching this, usually all of the time it is the brand who will give you a contract. Now, take note, learn from the situation of Paul Allen and Nina. Make sure when they give you a contract, if you haven't signed it, you can negotiate the contract. To secure your payment and make sure that you get it on time, ask them to adjust it wherein there is a late payment fee if they don't pay you on time based on the due date in the contract. So that's my big advice for you guys, because that's what we also do as virtual assistants when we give a contract to our clients. And you can also do this with your brands if you are watching this and you are a content creator. The next point that I'd like to talk about that we learned from this video is the importance of being professional, especially in the digital age. Everything now is recorded online. I saw this one creator said that, I think they called out Paul Allen and said, you should have not talked about this online. You should have messaged them privately. But we can't force people to do that. You know, at this day and age, especially for a content creator, everything is digital. Everything, we're doing it online. Now, as service providers, or as the brand, as the client, we should already understand that when we're dealing with people, especially remote workers or freelancers, especially content creators, it's very important that we understand the risk that we are taking, because if we don't also provide them with good customer service and we don't take care of our content creators, we don't take care of our virtual assistants, then they would definitely resort to calling you out online. They're working online, so what do you expect? Everything will be recorded digitally. So you have to also take care of your brand, you have to take care of your company, you have to take care of your image and your integrity, either as a brand or as a client. That you have to make sure that when you're dealing with remote workers, with freelancers, with content creators, that you also take care of them so that they don't call you out. It's not like the 80s or the 90s wherein every conflict should be resolved privately. No, it's no longer like that. At this day and age, we things change. And the generation right now is everything they do, everything online. And most of us are freelancers. Everything we do or the work we do is online. So we have to understand the risk right now of businesses, of brands, of clients. Okay, so we always have to remember to act professionally, whether we are resolving a conflict internally or privately, or resolving a conflict in the setting of social media audiences. So that was a quick point. My next point is something that's very important, especially if you are in a leadership role or in a management role, especially if you're working with subordinates or with the team. This is something that you should always remember and should always be on the top of your list as a soft skill, especially if you're a manager or a leader. You always have to make sure that you take accountability for your actions and the actions of your team. Just to give you an example, when I decided to have my own business as a wedding and events planner, this was way back in 2017, I have coordinators who work for me. But as a wedding coordinator, you can't be at the same place all the time. If you are the owner like me, I can be with the bride and my assistant coordinators will be in the church. Somebody's assigned in buffet, somebody is assigned at the reception area with the technician and all of those things. So I can't be in different places all at the same time. So I trust my people to do whatever it is that I told them to do based on what department they're focusing on. But if they make a mistake, I don't throw them under the bus. And this is something that I really treasure and I always teach those who would like to move up the ladder. Do not throw your team under the bus, especially if you are the face of the brand. Now, the name of my wedding and events planning business is MJ Weddings and Events, and that's my name. So when things go south, I don't go to the client or the bride and tell them, oh, I didn't know that happened. My technical coordinator was assigned to that, so that's his fault. I don't do that. Never do I face the client and tell them it's somebody else's fault because I was doing something else. I never throw my team under the bus. Whenever there's an issue, I am the one who will face the client. I am the one who will apologize, and I will be the one to say that's my fault. Okay? I never tell my client, oh, I'm sorry, but I just want you to understand that I wasn't there. It was actually my assistant head coordinator that was assigned in that department, and I didn't know what happened. I don't do that. I don't do that. And this is something that I hold dear in my heart, being accountable, especially as a manager, as a leader, and as a business owner, because I want my team to understand that I have their back whatever happens. I have their back. If they make a mistake, they are accountable to me. They are not accountable to the client, because I am the boss, I am the leader, I am the head coordinator. Okay? Same goes if you are a manager. If I'm the one facing the client and something goes wrong, then I am going to be accountable to that, and I will tell the client that I apologize for the mistake, and I will make sure that I do better next time. And if my subordinate made a mistake, my subordinate will be the one accountable to me, and I will ask my subordinate what happened, what went wrong, and then we will fix it. We will fix it together, because that's something that you learn from, and then you will definitely grow after that. You and your subordinate will grow after that mistake. Being accountable is one sign of a really good leader, a really good manager, a good senior manager, a good COO, or a good CEO. You don't throw your team under the bus. You don't make excuses. Okay? Put yourself in the shoes. You would probably think, why do I take blame for something I didn't do when it was done by somebody else? Even if you're a leader, of course, you will call out the person who made the mistake. Okay? Why not bring him front, and why not bring him in front and say, this is the person who made the mistake? Why not do that? Now, to answer that, put yourself in the position of the customer. Let's say, for example, in a restaurant, when you have an issue with the waiter, you'll get mad with the waiter, but then you also make it a point to call the manager. You ask them, where's your manager? I want to talk to your manager. Okay? Because you know that the manager is the head of the establishment. If the owner is there, of course you will talk to the owner. Okay, you'll ask, where's the manager? Is the owner here? I want to talk to the owner because I'm not satisfied with the service of this waiter. You don't tell the waiter. Of course you'll get mad with the waiter, but you always look for the manager. Okay, because you know that the manager will actually be the one to sanction the person that you're talking to, the waiter. Okay, so you look for the manager. Now, if the manager goes and says to you, I didn't make the mistake, this is not my fault, this is the fault of the waiter, you don't talk to me, you talk to the waiter, that's his fault, I'm not liable for this because I didn't do this. Okay, how would you feel as a customer that a manager will tell that to you, or an owner will say that? For example, an owner goes to you and say, okay, what's your issue? Oh, the waiter didn't give me the correct order. Oh, you talk to the waiter because that's his fault. That's not the fault of the restaurant. That's not my fault as an owner. How would you feel if an owner or a manager says that to you? What you would like to hear from the owner or the manager is that the owner would say, I am sorry that you feel this way. We'll make sure that we fix everything. We'll give you a refund. We'll give you a new food. We'll not let you pay. You would like to hear that from the owner, right? You don't want to hear that from the waiter because the waiter can't do anything. Same goes with this situation. When you are a leader or you are a manager, you always have to make sure that you are accountable for your subordinates or for your team's action, because your customer or your client, of course, would want to hear that from you. They don't want to hear you making excuses, because you are the face of the brand. You are the face of the company. Okay? So always make sure when you are already at a position, a leadership position, that you are accountable for your actions and never put your team under the bus. If it's a grave misconduct, apologize directly to the client. Tell them that it's your fault. You are sorry. If the situation is something that it's a terminable action, then terminate your subordinate or your team member internally. But don't tell your client that you are going to terminate that person. What you're going to do is you're going to apologize, say it's your fault. Yes, it's our fault. We're going to make amends. We're going to correct the situation. We're going to learn from this. And then internally, you can terminate the person. You can sanction them. You can suspend them. But don't ever say that it's somebody else's fault, especially if you are the business owner or if you are the leader or the manager. Now, I hope you learned something from the things that I just talked about and the things that we've learned from this situation. It's a very, very good example of what we do as service providers or as remote workers, and what we also do as business owners or entrepreneurs. Okay, so that's just really a gold mine of learnings that we saw from this situation. So I hope you learned something from this video. If you want to learn more about things like this, how to be successful in the remote work industry, become a freelancer, a remote worker, then all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and hit the follow button on all of my social media platforms. If you want to see some details of the things that I talked about, everything will be in the caption down below, especially all of the links to the important things that you need to know if you would like to succeed in this remote work industry. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.